Today I'm taking the Navajo on a 1,000-mile flight due north from Pitt Meadows into Whitehorse. Now the flight takes us out over the fertile agricultural reserve of the Lower Mainland and then up the coast. We'll be taking the plane over the Inside Passage and the protected waters of the Johnstone Strait, which lie between Vancouver Island and the mainland coast. Towards the top end of Vancouver Island in the summer months, it's very common to encounter low-lying cloud and fog. This is what happens when the cold Pacific Ocean butts up against the island. Flying up the coast, the inland waters turn into an azure color from the glacier waters that flow from the high mountain summer runoffs. Now, this is rugged country formed in the collision of the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate. As we continue north, we have some rugged coastal mountains to clear before we enter the raw, distinctive landscape of the Yukon. The flight will take 5 hours, and it's pretty much at the maximum range of a light twin. Our destination is the capital of the Yukon, Whitehorse, where living is different from anywhere else in Canada. And it is this week's West Coast Escapes lifestyle segment. Way up north of the 60th parallel is a town steeped in history and surrounded by rugged beauty. The town of Whitehorse is my favorite town north of the 60th. This is an eclectic place filled with miners, artisans, and 20-something adventurers and retirees that have come up here to taste the history of Canada's gold rush. There are two ways to get here. You can come by car, but to me, it makes more sense to hop in a jet and come up here in 2.5 hours and then rent a car and see the country. There are two carriers that'll fly you here, the Legacy National Airline or the Yukon-based Air North. The choice is yours. Air North is a supporter of this TV series. Whitehorse is the capital city of the Yukon. It's a modern, bustling city of 25,000 people. Now, it got its name back in 1898. And there was a set of rapids up here. It was quite white and frothy, and it reminded people of the white manes of horses. So what happened was they called it Whitehorse. In 1900, they put a railway through from here all the way down to Skagway, and it became the modern railhead of this new transportation line that was there when tens of thousands of miners needed supplies coming up here in the gold rush. Now, while native peoples have used this site at the Whitehorse Rapids for thousands of years, it wasn't until the discovery of gold and the development of a railroad that a town was established. Copper and silver are also discovered in the Yukon in the late 19th century, bringing prospectors of all sorts to the region. The stuff is lying around everywhere up here, mainly because much of this area, strangely, was never glaciated and scraped clean like the rest of Canada. Whitehorse's location at the south end of the navigable part of the river made the city a hub for mining businesses sending their ore to the coast. Now, sternwheelers were used to run cargo and passengers from the northern mining districts down the Yukon River to the rail terminal and warehouse. The trip wasn't easy, but it still beat carrying your worldly goods on your back. These steam-powered boats were fed by wood from the river banks and ran all the way up until 1950. When an all-season road to Mayo Mining District was completed. Mining is still an important activity in the Yukon, but today, Whitehorse is also a major center for government, trade, and tourism. The city appeals to people looking for a base to explore the surrounding rugged wilderness. Now, while Whitehorse has the amenities of a normal metropolis, a few minutes' drive outside the town gets visitors into truly wild territory. The vast landscape is home to bears and moose and deer, but also gorgeous flora like the fireweed. The stunning scenery has inspired poets and painters and may just inspire you too. There's plenty to do here on any budget. If you have an adventuresome spirit, try mountain biking or backcountry camping. For those looking for a more mild rush, canoeing, kayaking, or walking along nearby lakes and rivers are the right speed. History buffs may want to check out the various museums and heritage sites that bring Whitehorse's colorful past to life.
In the summer, up to 24 hours of sunlight add a thrill late night hiking or golfing. Regardless of the activity you choose, you'll find friendly locals to help guide you. Life in the north can be tough, and a strong sense of community helps people survive the long winters and harsh weather. Residents are rewarded, however, with thousands of kilometers of wilderness in their backyards. Travelers willing to make the journey to Whitehorse can share in these rewards up in the land of the midnight sun.